Hello from Inside Drug Discovery. This video describes a drug, JASCAYD, which was recently approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. This video describes mostly the medicinal chemistry properties of the drug rather than health outcomes in patients. JASCAYD was approved on October 7, 2025. JASCAYD is approved for the treatment of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis in adults. The active pharmaceutical ingredient in JASCAYD is nerandomilast. The drug is administered orally, twice per day, in an 18 milligram dose. The sponsor for the NDA is Boehringer Ingelheim. A link to the prescribing information insert of JASCAYD is shown on this slide, as well as in the video description. The indication for JASCAYD is idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, or IPF. The symptoms of IPF include shortness of breath and coughing. Without treatment, patients continue to lose lung function and can have difficulty breathing. The risk factors for IPF are smoking and elevated age, though the direct cause of IPF is not well understood. Ultimately, it results in scarring of lung tissue. There is no cure, and IPF represents an unmet medical need. Nerandomilast, the API in JASCAYD, acts on a phosphodiesterase, a PDE, primarily PDE4B. PDE4B is an enzyme, and nerandomilast is an inhibitor on PDE4B with an IC50 of 10 nanomolar, according to IUPhar's Guide to Pharmacology. PDE4B breaks down cyclic AMP in inflammatory cells, so inhibition of PDE4B raises CAMP levels with a downstream effect of reducing profibrotic growth factors and inflammation signals. A challenge in targeting PDEs is achieving selectivity within the family to minimize toxicity. The prescribing information indicates that nerandomilast has some selectivity for PDE4B. The IUPhar site shows the IC50 for PDE4D is 100 nanomolar, and PDE4A is 250 nanomolar. So that is moderate selectivity. Here we have the physicochemical properties of nerandomilast. All these properties are consistent with an orally administered drug. Nerandomilast does have a distinctive feature, this sulfoxide. The one other approved drug that I'm aware of with the sulfoxide is omeprazole. In nerandomilast, the sulfoxide has an R configuration, so the lone pair on sulfur is wedged up and the oxygen is hashed back. These are the PK properties of nerandomilast. The half-life is fairly long at 17 hours for a drug that is dosed twice per day. More frequent doses might imply that the regimen is maintaining a tighter therapeutic window. The prescribing information does specifically report the apparent central volume of distribution, VC, instead of something more common like the steady state volume or terminal volume. The central volume of distribution is more relevant for organs and tissues with high blood perfusion, which includes the lungs, the site of action for nerandomilast. Nerandomilast undergoes both phase 1 and phase 2 metabolism, the latter being glucuronidation, presumably involving this alcohol group. Excretion is mostly via the feces, although a large fraction of drug-related material is also excreted in the urine. Before we leave this slide, I'll note that the prescribing information mentions that the S enantiomer of the sulfoxide is observed as a minor metabolite. That perhaps suggests that the sulfoxide oxygen is somewhat labile in vivo. This is a new metabolic pathway to me. If you know more about it, please leave a comment beneath the video. With regard to safety, JASCAYD has no warnings in its prescribing information. That is uncommon. The adverse reactions observed in at least 5% of patients include GI tract effects, certain infection risks, and maybe some CNS effects. That is the end of this summary of the approval of the new drug application of JASCAYD, which was granted by the U.S. FDA on October 7th of 2025. JASCAYD contains nerandomilast as its API and is approved for the treatment of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Thank you for watching. Please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, or making a comment. Take care.